Hey, we're here.
You'd think
We're here. We're live.
with the extended time, I would have got my socials posted in time.
You
but
would-
know what?
You even
You
tried
would
to
think
pre-do
so.
it. You even tried to pre-do
yeah,
it.
it cleared my copy paste. I had to retype it.
Oh, bummer. You got 2 full minutes.
It's up now.
Okay, all right.
Mediocre. You're supposed to be a professional.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing this evening?
Oh, I'm pretty.
Yeah? Yeah, pretty good, you know.
Preparing our buns for Snowmageddon 2026.
It's anywhere from, I've heard anywhere from 4 or 5 inches all the way up to 17 inches.
17. A foot was as high as I heard.
I
heard-
saw 16.
14 was while I was getting my oil changed this afternoon, and then I've heard it's going to be like 6 to 8 inches. I don't think we're going to hit a full foot. I don't. I will eat my words. You know what? If it is over a foot, I will make a Instagram video of me just jumping in there with shorts and a t-shirt.
Oh no.
I'll do it. I have no shame. I'll do it. I almost said naked, but that's not going to happen on the internet.
I mean, it could, but
It could, but not for long.
I'd rather you didn't.
I would rather. Yeah, no, it would not be my decision either. But
Nerd overload presents only.
what if we did one? But because it's not.
I mean, there's no
specifically
rule
for,
that says OnlyFans has to be adult content.
It wasn't originally.
Nope,
They
it
were
was
just
not.
like, they were the one platform that was like, yeah, we don't care. And it became the horny one.
And then they tried to take it away, and then that didn't work out.
that
for 'em.
backfired.
That lasted like half an afternoon.
Yeah. But no, we should have an OnlyFans. Pay us money to have us keep our clothes on.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
We'll be millionaires in a month,
If that.
if that. All right. So yeah,
We can quit our day jobs.
be a reverse cam girl.
Oh no,
you-
my clothes are off. You want me to put them back
You'd like
on?
to see this shirt on, wouldn't you? Hello. Like and subscribe. All right, so we're back. It's been a couple weeks. We were off last week. Although Cody, you've been streaming.
I did stream this week.
Yeah, I thought about it multiple days, but I've been doing construction on the office studio and some other stuff. So, but Sunday.
Plus, it's your vacation.
It's my vacation. That's true. But no, this Sunday I will be probably doing a Sunday. See, the Truckosaurus.
When did Beetlejuice get here?
Hey.
Monster Truck Beetlejuice.
You know what? That probably what happened in
I
the
would-
cartoon.
Yeah.
In Cars.
I'm sure. In the Cars universe.
Cars universe.
Beetlejuice is a monster truck.
He is a Volkswagen Beetle with giant wheels. He's a Beetle juice.
I mean, isn't that kind of what Gravedigger kind of looked like?
Gravedigger. Yeah. Content.
It is content.
No, but we're gonna have plenty of stuff to talk about here. As we do. You know, we're gonna keep things rolling, and
I'm gonna try to not yawn again, and it's
oh, you can if you want. I mean, you know,
not good for the energy level.
not really, but that's okay.
Well,
Well,
you
we
made
will
me do it, you
compensate
jerk.
for it. You know. But yeah, once we get into the main show, we don't really talk about chat too much. If you stick around after the show, we'll try to say whatever and try to get caught up a little bit. But
Or if we can work the chat into
If
the
we could work-
conversation. We can
absolutely, yeah, we could do that as well, without a doubt. All right, Cody, do you have an intro?
Try. Sure.
Okay, let me these 2 channels, and then. Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerd Overload, the Well, I already messed up what I was gonna do. Ugh. I didn't flub my line. I just forgot what it was. Hey everybody. Hey everybody, welcome to the last episode of Nerd Overload before we're all turned into human popsicles in the ice and snowstorm of the century. I'm Cody.
I'm Sam, and I say don't eat the yellow snow.
And I say, oh, God. And I'm Josh. Watch out for those icicles. They've been known to kill people.
Oh, fun.
They'll put your eye out.
They'll put your eye out, kid. Hey, thank you all for tuning into the show this week.
You're not allowed to make that reference.
I'm not. I don't like that film.
You don't even like the movie.
I don't like that film. But we have a great show for you. You know what I do like? Talking about pop culture with my two best buds.
That's what we do here.
That's what we do here on the Nerd Overload program. Yes, so we have a bunch of news to go over, about 2 weeks worth. And but first, we're going to be doing some things. But first, we're going to be talking about some things we have been checking out.
Check it out!
All right, so some check'ems. If you guys need time to come up with something, I can go ahead and do mine real quick.
Go ahead.
The reason we didn't do a show last week is that I was at a theatrical screening of The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Fathom Events did a big screen. It was the first time I'd ever seen it on the big screen. I totally missed all of the Lord of the Rings
back
films.
in like 2001.
The only other Lord of the Rings adjacent film that I've seen in theaters was the first Hobbit. That's it.
You know, I've only seen the first Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit in theaters.
Yeah.
And just in general.
Oh, really? See, I've seen all of the main ones. So in the theater they played the extended cuts.
Ooh, yeah.
So it was like almost 4 hours long.
Wow.
That's good stuff.
And it was introed by Peter Jackson, the most rambly man I think I've ever seen on screen. It was clearly he was sitting in his house in in New Zealand, and he was just kind of mumbling about something.
You got like 4 hours each movie and 4 hours of Peter Jackson
pretty
rambling.
Much. He went 15 minutes. The first 15 minutes of the thing was him just going, "Yeah, well, we shot the movie, and you know, it was a struggle, but we got through it there, mate, and you know." As a terrible, I can do Australian and I can do Liverpudlian.
Yeah,
I can't
do
you
sound like a Beatle.
You sound like Ringo.
Yeah,
Ringo.
Hello there, I'm Ringo, and I was in The Lord of the Rings.
And now you sound like Wacko.
The Lord of the Ringos.
The Lord of
right there.
It's yes. Everyone, peace and love. Lord of the Ringos. I played Merlin. But no, it was a lot of fun going and seeing it in theaters. I thought it was pretty cool. They had done all three of them Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you wanted to have an entire weekend wrapped up around The Lord of the Rings, there you go. The Fellowship of the Rings is probably my favorite of the bunch. Probably the one I've seen the most of. You know, I just think it's a good starting place for those films. I'm more of a sci-fi fantasy as opposed to high fantasy type guy, but it was a good movie. I like it. Not a surprise.
When
I like it.
Saw it in theaters when I was a teen, I hated it.
Really?
I was so bored.
They could have. Yeah.
I felt like I was there 1,000 years, but then I've seen it more recently as an adult and liked it very much. And I love The Hobbit. At least the first
one's pretty good. Yeah, I haven't watched the other one.
It's also half the book.
Yeah.
I actually have a fan edit of the Hobbit films that put it all back into one movie.
Cutting out all the chaff you don't need.
All the extra stuff that they added for the films and all the other stuff. Yeah, and it's pretty good. I mean, I've only gotten about halfway through it, the stuff I've already seen from The Hobbit, but the first one. But no, it's pretty. They did a good job with the fan edit.
Just watch the Rankin Bass Hobbit
animated. That's all you need. That's true. That's all you
It
need.
is pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I watched it not too
So
long
the
ago.
Weird,
That's,
with like weird fish gremlin golem.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's the one with that was done by Ralph Bakshi, I think.
No, that's Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah,
right.
Hobbits, Rankin Bass.
Right.
The Rudolph people.
Yes, the Rudolph people.
But it's not stop motion, unfortunately. A stop motion Hobbit would be so good.
That would be so good. A 60s style.
Yeah.
Like the full-on Rankin Bass. Yeah. Yeah.
I saw Return of the King opening night at the Arena Grand.
Nice.
Long
nice.
time ago, with Chris Anderson and company.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, there was a part where we're sitting in the theater, and it's quiet. It's really quiet. There's a bunch of orcs on like rafts, like going across a river all quietly, trying to sneak up on some stuff. And my phone slipped out of my pocket and clattered on the floor. But as soon as it did that, an orc turned to the camera and said, "Quiet."
Oh, that's awesome.
And that moment,
Immersive.
everyone around us started just cracking up.
Oh,
My
that's
friend Starkey
good.
is losing his mind.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And at the end of the movie, the person in front of me turned around and gave me my phone back. My old Motorola that could never break.
Yeah.
You couldn't write something that good.
No,
That's
that
Oh, I know. I
that
know.
was phenomenal. That's great.
Yeah, if I
Yeah.
would have been on like I don't know, like a Vine or something, I probably would have had 1 million likes and would have been
Yeah.
internet famous.
Yeah. What
Oh,
do you mean? We're already internet famous.
That's true. But I meant like with money.
Well, sure. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Support the show.
Well, he needs to come up with a really good Dr. Pepper jingle, because that'll work.
That'll work.
Have you seen that?
No.
That lady
What?
that made a Dr. Pepper jingle on TikTok, and Dr. Pepper used it in a commercial.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Good on him.
Huh.
He could do a Wendy's jingle. They're from Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah.
Wendy's, it's way too expensive for what you get.
Wendy's, their fries are just okay.
Yeah.
They used to be better, then they changed the recipe.
But their chili is pretty decent.
Most of the time.
Just their chili is old hamburger cuttings.
Yep. Hey, you know what? It's use every piece of the buffalo. You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waste not, want not.
Exactly. Okay, so what have you guys been doing?
I have been playing a lot of Star Wars Outlaws.
Ooh, is that any good?
It is very, very good.
Okay.
It's Ubisoft's Star Wars product, and it's an open world, basically Star Wars smuggler simulator.
Nice.
You go around and you find like
Contraband?
jobs to do, like criminal type mostly jobs.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
they build your reputation with the different like crime families of the Star Wars underworld. You can work for the Hutts, you can work for the Crimson
Dawn?
Crimson Dawn, or the Pikes, and more open up as the further you
Don't
get.
work for the Pikes. Never work
I
for the
haven't.
Pikes.
I've been doing the Crimson Dawn.
Pikes just do slavery and spice.
It's really fun. It's almost like how I'd been playing Tomb Raider before. It feels very similar to that gameplay wise.
Yeah.
It's just a really good, really immersive feeling Star Wars game. Actually, I bought it on the Switch too, on sale for $30, and then the day before it shows up at my house through the mail, it pops on the Game Pass.
Oh.
And that,
Bruh.
Of course.
yeah,
Of
and
course.
I played it a little bit on the Switch too, but it doesn't look as good.
Yeah.
So I went.
Download it on the Game Pass.
Yeah.
Now I've been playing it on the Xbox. Which if you want to borrow the Switch 2 version,
I think I'm playing on Game Pass
Okay.
on my PC.
I didn't know you had Game Pass.
I have PC Game Pass.
Then yeah, you should play it because it's very good.
Mm.
There's space combat, there's speeder bike riding, there's all kinds of stuff.
All the stuff you'd really want to do in a Star Wars game
Yeah.
and not be a Jedi.
Exactly.
Excellent.
It's the exact character that I would want to play if I was going to play a Star Wars game. Is like the scoundrel type.
Yeah, I like it. Cool. Well, awesome. It sounds great.
It is.
Live all your Han Solo pre-rebellion fantasies.
Yeah. I haven't seen a single lightsaber the whole time.
Good.
That's good. That's good. Let's keep
Sick
it
of
that
seeing
way.
lightsabers in my Star Wars.
You do go to Tatooine, though.
Of course you do. It's a Star Wars game.
Oh, I hate sand. It's
You don't
coarse
start-
and gets everywhere.
You don't start there, though.
Okay.
Oh, thank God.
That's good.
You actually start on Canto Bight.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
that's where the main character is from.
Oh, nice.
Huh. Okay.
Oh, right on.
And she's pretty likable. I like Kay Vess. She's a good, like, main character, almost kind of blank
Cape
lady.
vest?
Kay Vess.
Okay.
And she's got like this little alien lizard guy that hangs out with her, kind of her little Chewbacca.
Okay.
But you can command him to do like distract guards or pick stuff up and bring it to you.
Oh, that's cool.
In a way that's really, really fluid and natural and not clunky or anything.
Nice. No,
Is
that's
he
awesome.
better than the little droid from Fallen Order?
I didn't play very much of that. Does the droid ever do anything in that?
Yeah.
I don't know. That was too Dark Soulsy for me.
I mean, it is pretty. Combat on that one is pretty Dark Soulsy.
Yeah.
But also, I like it better than Dark Souls. Like, I don't know. I had a better time with it.
Yeah, it's less
Mhm.
it's less mean.
Yeah.
If I would have stuck with it, I probably would have really liked it. But
I mean, I like Cal Kestis as a character.
yeah,
Yeah.
it seemed like a good game, but I probably just got real mad at it and stopped.
Gave up.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I mean, in the sea of Star Wars games, there are more bad than good. So
Yeah.
it's-
Unfortunately.
it's really hard to find a really good one.
The highs are extremely high though. There's some very good Star Wars games.
Yeah.
Your Dark Souls, your Dark Forces, your Jedi Survivors, your Knights of the Old Republic,
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars Outlaws.
I mean, I like Battlefront.
Battlefront was good.
It scratches an itch.
The new ones were less good, but the originals are really good.
2 is all right. I mean, the new 2, the Dice 2.
Yeah, that just felt like EA wanted them to make Star Wars Fortnite.
It's more like Star Wars Battlefield.
Yeah,
honestly.
oh yeah. Or
Hey-
Star Wars Call of Duty.
Hey, do you guys remember Super Empire Strikes Back for the Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Those games are pretty
they're,
solid.
they're pretty solid. They're kind of difficult. I just wanted to be part of the conversation, guys.
Hey guys, do you remember Masters of Terrachaos?
Oh, Terrace Kasai?
Yeah.
They reference that in Solo.
They do.
Yes,
They do.
His Solo's long lost girlfriend from when he was a street urchin learns Terrace Kasai
And mentions it.
and mentions it. Yes.
The only in-universe mention of the Star Wars karate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That
Like,
fighting game is so bad, though.
it is so bad.
It's so
It
bad.
is so bad. You can cheese some stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you unlock Boba Fett, you could just backpack rocket.
Oh yeah, he doesn't. You don't even have to land. Yeah.
Did Matt McMuscles do a worst fighting game on the episode
Sure did.
on it?
Sure
And
did.
I'm surprised it didn't land higher on the.
Yeah. No,
Cliff.
it's. I think it landed at like fairly stinky. I don't think it was like
It's
real
no
high up.
Pit Fighter on the Super Nintendo, unfortunately.
Yeah, that Pit Fighter is. That one's hard to beat.
I don't know if you'll find anything that beats it.
It's pretty rough. The most recent one he did, the Sailor Moon, the PS1 fighting
That
games.
looks so bad.
Oh, I forgot about that
it was-
garbage.
Yeah.
The CG, like the
Mhm.
pre-rendered graphics are very bad.
Yeah, he just did that one, and it's like he said it was close, but not there.
Oh man, that
It's
makes
not
me
as
remember. I used to have the Inuyasha fighting game on PS1.
Oh,
I also had Gundam Battle Assault and Gundam Battle Assault 2.
There's
Nice.
a couple Ranma games for Super Nintendo, I think. There's a Ranma
Probably.
fighting
there's.
game.
I think there is. Yeah. Oh, I discovered the other day that the so Power Ranger is Power Ranger Minute, whatever. Power Ranger games are not very good.
No, they're
Mighty Morphin
generally not great.
The Sega Game Gear version is phenomenal.
Yes,
Huh.
I have played that one.
Yes, you get Zord battles at the end of each
Yes.
major chapter.
It's pretty solid.
You get giant Green Ranger from that episode where Rita made him grow.
Yeah,
And it's a giant, it's a Zord, it's the Megazord versus Giant Green Ranger. It's great.
I think one of the Jetman NES games is good.
Jetman, yeah. And gosh, years and years and years ago, I played the Car Ranger mini NES game or Super Nintendo game. It was on that I forget what the peripheral was called. It was a Japanese only thing.
The Nintendo Power download service.
Yes, but it had like the cart that had almost looked like a Super Game Boy. And the pieces were only like that little.
It was a different one because it was Bandai's thing.
It was Bandai's thing. Yes.
Yeah, they had their own little download thing.
Yeah, it was on that. And it was a pretty solid game. It was like chibi style characters.
Yeah.
But it fits because that's the comedy season.
Yeah.
Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right. Josh, what have you been doing?
So I have been watching the new season of Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal.
Oh, cool.
There are 2 episodes out. The third one comes out Sunday night at 11:30.
Nice.
Or next day at 9 a.m. Yeah. It's weird.
Oh, yeah?
Like, really weird.
Okay, how so?
Well, so, I don't know. Because it kind of spoils season 2 if I have to talk about it. But
go as far as you can without spoiling. Or if you can't, just say it's weird and move on. I don't know.
Me trying to talk about Pluribus.
Yeah.
Screw it. I feel like I'm the only person in the world that watches this show. Anyway.
Okay.
So,
hey, spoilers, come back in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, come back if you care about
whatever.
season 2 of Primal.
Yeah.
So at the end of season 2 of Primal, Spear, the caveman hero that you've been following for the entire series, fights a fire demon.
Okay.
And destroys said fire demon. Well, kind of. The whole point, the fire demon was a Viking warlord guy that he fought and basically killed his entire clan.
Oh, okay.
Because they were slavers and they had kidnapped Mira, his lady friend. Who was traveling with him for like the entire second season.
She's not my girl, she's just my lady friend.
And he fights this fire demon. Yes. He fights this fire demon and is burned to death.
Oh. Okay.
And before he dies, is able to sire a child with Mira.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the season ends. Is you see, there's like a time jump, and you see like her teenage daughter riding on the back of a dinosaur.
Okay. Cool.
So, season 3 starts, and a bearded man, wakes up with arrows sticking out of his body, and his village is on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a wounded person or whatever. It's hard to tell what this thing was. Some kind of monkey man or something. Primal's weird. There's all kinds of weird stuff like that in the show.
It's
very Conan Hyperion kind of style.
That's probably the best way to describe
Hyborian age.
Yeah, it's very much like that. There's monsters, there's demons, there's magic, there's dinosaurs, there's cave people, there's regular people. It's nuts. So anyway,
it's whatever Genndy felt like that day.
Exactly.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yep.
Very much in the style of the entire series. It's done through a lot of visual storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
There's no dialogue. What dialogue there is, there's never any English words. A lot of grunting or yelling or whatever, or languages that are, I don't know if they're made up or just different.
Yeah.
He climbs these steps into this cave or this mountain with a bunch of holes in it. Turns out it's a bunch of catacombs, like burial caves or whatever.
Okay.
And he stops in front of one of them, and above it is a painted symbol of what looks like Spear on fire. And he does like this ritual thing and raises Spear from the dead.
Okay, that's cool.
As a very gross, buff zombie.
Okay. Sure.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And uses him to get revenge on the tribe that destroyed the village.
Mm.
So obviously this village was Spear's child's village. We don't know how much time has passed. We don't know the fate of Mira, or Spear's daughter. The guy that raised Spear gets killed mid-fight as Spear is just ripping through these monkey men tribal people. And then when the caster gets killed, Spear is freed from his control.
Okay.
He has this green glow in his eyes and it's gone. And then he just kind of stops. Stops moving altogether. And yeah. And then he kind of wakes up or snaps out of it or whatever. And just starts wandering off.
Yeah. So
you have these 2 episodes of him just kind of wandering around. But he keeps getting glimpses of like memories or whatever. Like he hears like a roar in the distance and it makes him think of Fang, his dinosaur companion.
His dino friend, yes.
His Yoshi.
His Yoshi. And he starts following it. And so far he hasn't found the source of it yet. I mean, the fights are pretty brutal.
As per usual, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The fights are pretty brutal. The last episode is called Empire of Ruin, or no, Empire of Sorrow is what it's called.
Empire of Hurt.
Yeah. And he's been traveling through this desert, and then he goes to a cave and finds this jungle city or whatever, this overgrown city in a jungle.
Okay.
That has been taken over by lions. And he ends up fighting this whole clan of lions to the point where he gets to like the Primarch of these lions. He's big and huge and looks way meaner than all the other lions.
Okay. I don't mean to stop you here, but it sounds pretty awesome. I don't want you spoiling anymore. It sounds pretty great.
Like I said, there's not a lot really going on. It's mostly just Spear wandering around, having flashes of memories. He even sees like a pre-zombie version of himself that he kind of like has a hallucination of or whatever. It's I don't know. I can't tell what's going on, and I can't say that I don't like it.
Oh, sure.
But I also can't
say... Great
say...
animation.
Yeah, and I also can't say that I'm, like, in love with it.
It might be one of those that you have to wait till the end of the season to kind of get back on as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, of the style of the show that he set up, it's very much within the vein. Like, it's, visually it's interesting.
I was about ready to say they should just let him make movies of whatever he wants.
But then Hotel Transylvania?
No, I was going to say that Hotel Transylvania is pretty
They're good. Yeah, no, they're good.
How was Adam Sandler?
It was directed by Gendy.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all of them were.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, no, just the first one.
Oh, I thought he did the second one as well. Huh.
Or the third one.
I was going to say, then you get that dog movie.
Oh,
Fixed. That's apparently really,
that wasn't
really
very,
gross.
Yeah. No.
Oh, yeah.
That's
where
right.
it's like The Hangover with dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Huh.
That looks stupid.
Yeah.
And I've heard that it is not good.
I've heard very similar things. I will not be finding out for sure. All right. So hey, let's go ahead and switch gears and jump into some news.
Could take a break and acknowledge chat here.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's. I'll go ahead and. We'll acknowledge chat for sure. So yeah, Simply Geek Pod, first time chatter. Thanks for tuning in. Primal is fantastic. More of the same, just Undead Spear. So would you agree, Josh?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's.
Oh man, I forgot about that Primal game.
I think it was a gargoyle.
Yeah, I think it was too.
Some kind of monster.
Yeah, something like that. And Retired Bread Man says, checking in. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes.
It's the yeast he could do.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Very nice. Very nice. Yep.
See, every time I see him show up in chat, I get this warm, toasty feeling.
The toasty feeling, yes.
That joke really just came off the crust.
Fourth bread pun. All right.
Apparently, Simply Geek Pod doesn't like my puns. Well, you know what? You're in for a long journey.
Yeah.
Whoever you are.
Let's see. And Made with Love and Swear Words says, the only place to get a baked potato in a drive-thru.
It's true.
It's Wendy's. I tell you what, their baked potato is pretty good. Pretty good.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. Baconator is one of my favorite fast food burgers.
It's a good one.
Baconator's pretty good.
You know what? I like the breakfast Baconator.
Yeah,
because it's just a single Baconator with a egg on it.
Well, it's also sausage instead of beef.
Sausage. Yeah. But I like it. It's good.
No, it is pretty good. But I also really like Wendy's as a breakfast burritos, the bacon one.
I haven't had those. I
like them better than the McDonald's ones because the McDonald's ones put pico on it, and I don't like pico.
Yeah. The you know what? The Burger King breakfast burritos are pretty good. The big one, they threw some hash browns in it as well.
Yeah. I had one of those a couple weeks ago.
Although when I get McDonald's, breakfast, sausage and cheese McMuffin, and I break a hash brown in half and put that on the sandwich.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh,
I
wonderful.
like the bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddle. I like that sweet.
Well, I like the sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle.
Yeah.
And then I'll get an oatmeal on the side.
Nice.
This has been breakfast talk.
Yeah.
We got Larian saying, "You all are making me hungry."
I'm sorry.
Swear words, croissant witch, baby, and same. Also getting hungry. So I guess that means we should probably keep going with the show.
Yes, our ladies are hungry. Could feel the ire from here. The hangry is real.
It's Vaughn.
Hey, Vaughn. Hey, Vaughn. How you doing, man?
Everybody's showing up today.
Everybody's here. All right.
It's a miracle.
Oh, man.
Oh, not yet.
All right. So, let's go ahead and
do this news.
Do we just want to go from the top?
Let's go.
Let's go from the top. All right. Here we go. Getting into some news. First up, there is a trailer for Masters of the Universe, the He-Man movie.
Finally, we got an actual trailer for this dumb movie that I know I'm going to watch in theater because I'm stupid.
You know what? I will watch it as well. I
have a soft spot for He-Man. I don't know why. I wasn't that big into the original cartoon when I was a kid.
No, I never saw it when I was a kid.
I mean, I did watch it. Not like a lot, but not as much as I watched like Transformers or G.I. Joe. But
yeah,
I did like He-Man. But the 2000s reboot was amazing.
Oh, that one was
good.
It is very good. Plus, you get to see
good.
Skeletor's origin.
Mm-hmm. Keldor,
yep.
Old Keldor,
who does make an appearance in the Kevin
Revelations
Smith.
And what have you.
Yeah, and he's voiced by Shatner.
Okay.
Yeah, it was weird.
You know what? I'm good with it.
Like Shatner doing something in this day and age.
Vaughn says you have a soft spot because he has the power.
I mean, he does have the power.
He does have the
power. And he knows what's going on.
And the muscles.
He has the muscles and the power. Oh, man, yeah. So
yeah.
I hope it's... Well, I don't know if I want to say that. I almost said I hope it's better than the Dolph Lundgren one from the 80s, but that one was just stupid enough
to be
that
classic.
It's fun. Yeah.
That's what I like about the original cartoon is just how goofy and stupid it is. It's just like...
Plus, it gave us one of the greatest internet memes of all time.
What's going on
music video.
Yeah.
It's just like Filmation throwing a bunch of spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah, pretty much.
Making it stick.
Yeah.
Like, Mattel's just like, okay, these are the toys.
Yeah, this is what we can make the cheapest.
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
We made this new character. Put him in the show.
Have you guys ever seen the New Adventures of He-Man, the sequel series where he goes to space?
No.
Oh,
he goes to another planet and he gets a robot sword.
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I remember the toy line was dog water.
It was bad. They were trying to ape Star Wars a little bit. His power sword, it was turned into a lightsaber. It wasn't good. It wasn't good.
A laser sword.
He cut his hair. He had short hair. It wasn't right.
So anyway,
but this trailer looks really good. It looks, and
we were a little wrong in our prediction.
Yes, we were. I originally had thought that it was going to be a full-blown like isekai, like a human gets sucked through a portal and goes to
Eternia.
as it turns out, it looks like he is fully aware of Eternia, was born there, knows he's Prince Adam of Eternia, and as a child was sent to Earth to protect him from Skeletor's army or whatever. Hordak. Maybe.
Whoa! What if it is the Horde? What if it is the Horde?
That would be kind of cool.
Hordak is technically more evil than Skeletor.
Yeah,
right?
Hordak.
Yes.
Hordak used to be Skeletor's boss.
It's the Serpentor to Skeletor's Cobra
that
commander.
That just tells you that She-Ra is better and stronger because her bad guy is the worst one.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Who would you cast as She-Ra? Because if this movie does well, they're going to spin it off.
I'd rather just have a She-Ra based on the Netflix.
The Netflix show, yeah, that would be good. That would be good.
But I mean, the first person that popped in my head is Brie Larson, but that's too obvious.
I'd be fine with that, though.
It's kind of a boring pick. It would
It's
work.
It's the safe pick.
Yeah,
it's the safe pick, but that means you can get wild with all the surrounding characters, like Bo.
True.
Bo or Glimmer or
the Freddie Mercury of space, Bo.
Yeah.
Except in the Netflix one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, who was the pirate guy?
Oh shoot.
Oh, he was my favorite character on the.
He's in love with the mermaid princess.
Yeah.
Keeps setting his ships on fire.
Yeah.
Shoot. What was
I cannot. If only there were some way to look it up.
Yeah.
But there's just no way.
That's such like a D&D callback
It
joke.
is.
Like it would be something you would do one time in your D&D campaign.
And it just
by
keeps
accident,
happening.
And then
Yep. Speaking of which, my D&D campaign. Seahawk. That's it. The Seattle Seahawks. Yes. No, my D&D game started back up finally, and I am playing a Minotaur who drives a caravan, and by drives I mean he pulls the caravan behind him. His name is Big Buck Beef Slab. Strong of heart, dumb of ass.
should wear a trucker hat.
Yes, he does. Full-blown trucker hat.
Nice.
That's right. Yep.
Oh no, you need for like an intimidation check or something. You need to just be like, "What? You got beef?"
I like it. Yep.
He's got a
that's getting at it.
catchphrase now.
He's got a catchphrase. Yes.
Where's the beef?
Where's the beef?
Coming back around to the Wendy's.
Here's the beef.
Yeah.
Beefcake.
I want to do either a vampire game or a Star Wars game.
Oh, that would be cool.
I have the old 3.5 star or D&D style Star Wars books.
Nice.
We should play a Star Wars.
We should do a Star War. Yeah, we should play a Star War. So next trailer on the list, we have the Muppet Show.
Yeah, Muppet Show got a full trailer.
There's another one. Yeah, it was mostly stuff that they had already used in the other trailer, but there was little snippets of
new
different stuff, and it
like Rolf.
Yeah, it continues to look really good.
It continues to look really, really good. You were absolutely right, Cody. Sabrina Carpenter is like the best first guest.
Yeah,
I was surprised. I didn't know Maya Rudolph was going to be in this as well.
Making that Maya Rudolph face she makes.
Yeah, well, it works.
Yeah.
They showed a shot of the audience, and there was a lot of people in there, and I wonder if there was a bunch of cameos.
I bet there were.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
The Muppets love a celebrity one-liner cameo.
Yep. Yes.
Which will probably be Maya Rudolph is.
Man,
you probably saw the best bit.
Oh, what if they brought Steve Martin back for an episode if it gets picked up for a full season? Because he was on that first season.
Oh, yeah.
Way back in the day.
We could bring Lady Gaga back on because she had a Muppets Christmas special. It was the Muppets and Lady Gaga.
There we go.
Christmas spectacular.
I don't think we could handle Lady Gaga and Sabrina Carpenter in the same place.
I tell you what, Rita Moreno is still kicking. She's still out there. She played Dom Toretto's abuela in Fast 10.
That's very
Fast
good.
10, your seatbelts. And she was also, that's what they should have called that movie. She was in the first season of that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, she does like a tango routine with a human-sized Muppet and just slams them all over the place.
Oh yeah,
it's very funny. It's a very funny bit.
Too bad Vincent Price isn't still around.
Yeah. Just in general.
Yeah, I was just gonna say in general.
Yeah. That was another when I was telling you about my my Riff Tracks
yes,
channel.
Yes,
they
the
had
pre-show, yes.
they had a Vincent Price movie on there where he's like the last man on Earth or something, and everyone
Yeah,
else
that's
is
the
like
original.
everyone's else like a vampire or something.
Yes, that is the original. The last man on Earth. It was turned into the Omega Man, and then it was turned into Legend. Will Smith.
I am Legend.
Yes, not Legend with the devil horns.
With Tim Curry and 18-year-old Tom Cruise.
Yes, yeah, and the unicorn scenes that he
made no sense,
and then were put into Blade Runner and also made no sense. It's the same shots, by the way.
Are they?
It was leftover shots from Legend that he was like, oh, that guy made a little unicorn origami guy. Maybe he's dreaming about unicorns. That was really Scott's entire thought process.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I love Blade Runner
Don't
too.
watch the director's cut, folks, or the final cut. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Let's see.
I want a Lego of Deckard's car. The spinner.
Yeah, that would be cool. Oh, speaking of Lego, have you seen the Legends of Zelda with Ganon, the final battle with Ganon?
It's very good.
And it's $130, which is stupidly possible.
I know.
It's just dumb
It's
enough.
just cheap enough.
Yeah.
It's just cheap enough where I could go,
You could almost
justify it.
Justify it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad it's not the marionette Ganon from Wind Waker.
Yeah. You know, I can eat ramen for a month. That's fine. I can do that to afford a Lego.
Your guys aren't doing that?
No, only once a week right now.
I kind of wish there was more building
Yes.
stuff instead of it just being kind of like an octagon with some guys in it.
Yeah.
But like, I think it's cooler than the Deku Tree.
I think so too.
I mean, it's very cool, but that Deku Tree is really good though, like iconically.
Oh man, what if they made the Hyrule Castle like a $500 set? Because you know they're not afraid.
Right?
Yeah.
$600.
Or the King of Red Lions.
That would be a good one. Death Mountain. It would have to be a pretty small.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
It'd be a Death Mountain for ants.
It'd probably end up being kind of like how the the pyramid set is or something like that.
Yeah, probably. Let's see. Yes, it is Simply Geek Podcast. That's Spider Austin behind us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh, lean back for a second. I'm a swinger, baby. Yeah. All right.
Oh my God.
Did you make a rope for it?
I did, in fact, make
Wow.
a well. I found a couple of spare shoelaces that I wrapped up in a haphazard way to make it look like yes. Hey, we don't half-ass things here. We full-ass them.
They gave a trailer for Disney Plus's new Star Wars series, Maul.
Lord of Shadows.
Lord of Shadows.
Like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's animated, and it's from the same people who did Clone Wars, Bad Batch, Rebels, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks more of the same. Though it does seem like it has like a, no pun intended, like a darker tone.
Yeah.
It does a little bit, sure.
Definitely seems more violent than kind of like the premiere of like season 2 of Rebels, where it got kind of really dark there for a minute.
But you know what? It needs that. Maul, you can't have a lighter version of Darth Maul. He's got robot legs.
Yeah.
And a cool lightsaber.
And a lot of anger issues.
Yes, very many.
I just wish it was live action.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I just don't really care for most of the animated Star Wars stuff. I think Rebels is the only one I really got into.
Clone Wars was really good, especially after the first season.
Yeah, but you have to watch 500 episodes of like stuff that's not that great before it is good.
That's why I stopped at the Genndy stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Genndy stuff. Yeah.
Also, those are only like 2 minutes long.
I know, it was the perfect length.
It was in between.
That's what she said.
Thank you.
But
But no, no, those were like played in between episodes of Toonami.
Well, yeah, that's true. But you know what? You stitch them all together and you get a nice 45-minute or whatever.
Hey, 2003 was pretty lit for Star Wars.
It was a good time for Star Wars. Yeah.
I think I still have a couple figures from that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had a General Grievous, and I had an Asajj Ventress, and I had Commander Cody.
Oh, okay.
The ARC Trooper with the two pistols.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
There's a character in Star Wars Outlaws named Jet Cordo, and I'm like, that is the fakest sounding Star Wars name I've ever heard.
In a sea of bad Star Wars names.
Yeah.
God, it's like that line from Thumb Wars. I am Ooby Dooby Scooby Kenobi, the man with the silliest name in the galaxy.
Hey, Cody. Execute Order 69.
Oh.
Do you remember?
Nice.
Do you remember saying that years and years ago?
No.
Oh yeah. You know what? Take 2 seconds. I'm gonna find it here.
How are you gonna find it?
Oh, I save everything.
I know, but how are you gonna
You have
find
a clip
it?
of me just saying that?
Yep, sure do. Let's see. Where is it?
Though I do feel like I remember this. Though.
Yeah, that sounds like a bit I would have did.
Yeah.
It sounds like a bit any one of us would have
Yeah.
done.
Where is it? No, I still have.
Execute Order 69.
That's exactly what it sounded
Probably,
like.
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause that's my Palpatine voice.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yoda, you dime store Kermit the Frog.
I feel like we need to update the joke though.
Or you mean Order 6-7?
6-7.
Order
stop.
6-7.
Never. Nope. Kill the bit. I know I have it here.
There's a comic or something I read recently that was describing their age as old enough to not understand 6-7, but still young enough to not get upset by it.
Sure. No, that's
Yeah,
fair.
that's precisely where I stand on it.
I don't know who you are, Simply Geek Pod. I don't know what old guy you are.
Okay, I found it. Give me
They
a
know
sec.
you.
Apparently, I am also an old guy. It's not like we all know each other.
You don't go to the meetings?
You mean the nursing home?
Yeah.
All right.
Did you
okay.
find it?
I found it, so I need doing this on the fly here.
You should bit crush it.
I'll put, yeah.
Execute order.
Yeah. Let's
This will be much funnier in an edited version when you don't have.
I don't have all this.
We're not
fapping
around for 15 minutes.
Let's there. We're gonna find out. Here we go.
I like.
Oh, that is an old
Yep,
clip.
it's
It's
an
got
old
Samantha in it.
I don't think it played for everybody else.
I like how I
need to fix
couldn't
that.
keep. I couldn't.
Couldn't-
keep a straight
you just
face
couldn't do
through
it.
You
Yeah,
started
you
laughing
couldn't do
before
it.
you even
Yeah.
said it.
Yep.
Like you were tickled that much by your own joke. But also, when are we not laughing at our own stupid
true.
jokes?
Yeah. Try this one more time.
Preston. They said.
Oh, Preston. Yeah. I kind of remember. I think I know who we're talking about here. Preston, did you used to work at the GameStop years and years ago?
Did you live with Mikey?
Or Raphael.
That's not what I wanted. Stop giving me the things that I don't want to go. Capture there. Maybe now someone will be able to hear it. Here we go. Trying it again.
Execute Order 69.
You losing it, I think, is the best part of it.
Yeah.
It is that
shame
Preston.
you had to cut
It's a
that
shame
out.
we're gonna have to cut that one because that one's very good.
That's going in the cut.
That's getting the
I
same.
knew it!
Yep.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
We should bring back Nerd Overload After Dark.
We should.
Yes, it is who you thought it was.
Yes, cool. Well, yeah.
Welcome to the stream, Preston.
Yeah, appreciate you tuning in, Press. Okay, so we got what's the next one? Since we have a hard cut.
Yeah.
For all of for the time. You know what? I want to talk about Murder, She Wrote.
Let's go. Let's talk about Murder, She Wrote.
You remember Murder, She Wrote?
Yeah. Old people killing other old people.
It's the show where the teapot from Beauty and the Beast solves mysteries.
Exactly. Well, it's becoming a movie. A modern-day movie. Starring Jamie Lee Curtis.
Which sounds incredible. I'm in.
I am 100% in.
Angela Lansbury's still alive, isn't she?
No.
No.
She's not?
No, she'd be like 110 by now.
No, she died not that long ago.
It wasn't not that long ago?
Yeah, it wasn't that long
Time
ago.
is relative, man. I don't know. I don't know time anymore.
It's a magazine.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. They sell like gimmicky issues at the checkout at the store that has like time. What is a Pokemon?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
2022.
2022. Okay, so about 5-6 years ago, or not 5-6, 3-4 years ago. Yes. Yeah. No, I'm excited for this the prospective Murder, She Wrote.
I would
movie.
be leery about it if it was anybody other than Jamie Lee Curtis. For some reason, that seems like a really good
like
pick
a
to
good
me.
fit. It sounds like she might be a little more actiony because
it's Jamie Lee Curtis.
She can do it. Yeah, I'm totally down. How much Murder, She Wrote have you guys seen in the past?
I used to watch it pretty often with my sister, but,
Oh, yeah?
But it's been so long. It's probably since...
I've watched a lot of the funny episode recaps that Pushing Up Roses does on YouTube.
Oh, yes, those are good. There's one episode that sticks out to me in particular, and it was the cyber security episode where you have Angela Lansbury wearing like VR goggles and like cyber gloves, like it's like
Johnny Mnemonic.
Like Johnny Mnemonic, yeah. It's like she had a power glove on each hand and like a visor, and she's like solving crimes in the cyber zone.
That's what gets me the most about the Neuromancer show. How are they gonna make cyberspace not look like Angela Lansbury with two gloves on reaching at nothing?
or like the computer interface from Jurassic Park. like the You didn't say the magic word.
Let's see here.
Damn this hacker bull. Oh, Samuel L. Jackson.
It's Unix, I know this.
Yeah, Unix, there aren't many of them, but I think it still happens. Yeah, that! Okay, I remember this!
Yes, this is going... give me a sec, this is going up on screen. Let me,
Hey, there's the Pushing Up Roses video about it.
So you know what, I want this one? No, I think I want... Is this a GIF? Can I put a GIF up here?
Yes, it is.
That's the one. Give me a sec. I got this. Producing is hard, guys.
You're a great engineer.
I do what I can. Add image.
Like Moltar over there with your big lever.
I should put a big lever here. Yeah. Let's see. Desktop.
Space Ghost really can't fight with the guests.
And then I go to that. There we go. We got Cyber Lansbury in the corner
Cyber
now.
Jessica
Fletcher.
Fletcher.
Yep, Jessica Fletcher. There we go. She's just gonna hang out there for the rest of the episode, I think.
It's barely even a GIF.
She's in the cyber zone, guys.
She's having a chat with Max Headroom.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh man. Okay.
I see you're trying to solve a murder. Do you need help with that?
Yes. Oh, Clippy.
Angela Oculus.
Oh, so good.
Oh yeah, that That was Jordan in the chat, by
Yeah,
the
that
way.
was.
Good job,
Jordan.
I can't take credit for that, unfortunately.
Angela Lansbury was an early adopter of MetaQuest.
Yeah.
No.
no.
Actually, no, I have one of those.
Which one?
Older one.
Okay, so not a 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so I also kind of want to talk about the Keenan and Kel meets
I
Frankenstein
mean, there's
movie.
not a lot of news
There's
to
not,
it,
but
it was just announced that they're doing a buddy
comedy,
A
much
buddy
like
comedy.
Abbott and Costello.
Yeah, but
because
it's
Keenan and Kel are the modern day Abbott and Costello.
Absolutely.
so yeah. If you remember, Keenan and Kel from Snick,
Mm-hmm.
starring Keenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell from when we were all the same age.
He loves orange soda.
Who loves orange soda?
Kel loves orange soda.
Is it true?
I do.
I still quote that.
I
Actually.
do too. There was also one where
Anytime I buy an Orange Crush.
it's that, and there was an episode.
Good.
Right?
Yeah.
Good.
There was an episode where Keenan tries to sue a tuna fish manufacturer because he almost choked on a screw that was in his can of tuna.
Oh, I kind of remember that.
And the climax was Kel not able to keep the secret anymore, and he starts yelling, "I put the screw in the tuna!" over and over.
That just makes you think of the episode of The Simpsons when Bart had the metal crustio,
Oh yeah.
and he had to have his appendix removed for it.
because of the yes. Coolio did the theme song.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, he
Coolio did.
He's in the theme song.
He's in the
He's
theme
in the
song.
opening
Yes,
credit.
he is. Yeah.
You should do a extremely long YouTube video where you review every episode of Keenan and Kel in
Just
order.
all in one big long one.
Yeah.
Would we even be able to find that?
It's out there. Everything is out
Yeah.
there.
like Quentin.
Like
reviews.
Quentin reviews. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a good one actually.
I don't
Yes.
know. We kind of gave up on the Power Ranger one.
Well, no, it would be one big long video.
Yeah.
Oh
Just-
God,
just
no!
It's 14 hours of me reviewing every single episode of Keenan and Kel.
I'd lose my mind.
I'd have to do intercuts with All That
Yeah.
and the Amanda Show and like.
I loved all that.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
All that was great.
Yeah.
But, and I'm probably going to catch a lot of hate for this. As far as Nickelodeon Snick sketch comedy shows,
Uh-huh.
I was way more of a Roundhouse kind of guy.
Roundhouse was like before all that, or
It
like
was.
It was about
Yeah.
the same
it was
time.
the precursor to it.
I think
I think
so.
I think when they wrapped up on Roundhouse, they kind of led into
Yeah.
all that.
It
I
was
feel
like they made a 90s, like more hip 90s, early 2000s version, which was All That. Yeah. Nickelodeon live action things were pretty solid.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, I did like that
Oh
one.
yeah, that was a good one.
I didn't watch live action things when I was a kid. I was just like, this isn't
so-
animated. I'm not interested.
Okay. So I watched pretty much everything that was on Snick. Every Saturday night, I was glued to Snick.
Yes.
Me and my sister both.
Mhm.
But as far as pre-Snick, or like during the afternoon shows,
Yeah.
I would watch like, Hey Dude,
Hey dude, sure.
Closer Explains It All,
Yeah. Hey,
Pete
that-
and Pete.
I always thought it was really cool how her friend would just have a ladder and just come in through the window. And
Yeah,
it was him.
that's not creepy at all.
You know what? Back then, it was charming.
Well,
It was good.
that was the point of it. That it wasn't what you thought it was.
Exactly.
Like
Yes.
it looked
Shady, but
It looked
but it
sketch,
wasn't,
but it wasn't.
yeah.
Yes.
That's the gist.
Oh man, Alex Mack.
The Adventures of Alex Mack, yes.
Yes,
With that
she's-
stupid silver puddle transformation.
She turns into a. She turns into a Capri Sun commercial.
Yeah.
Oh,
She looked like Metal Mario, but it went wrong.
Yeah.
she became a metal slime from Dragon
Yeah.
Yeah,
Quest.
that's it. Yeah. Salute your
Liquid
shorts.
metal slime.
Salute your shorts. Camp Anawana. We hold you in our hearts.
And when
We think about you, it makes me wanna fart. Hey!
Yep.
That
Yep.
had to have been one of the earliest times anybody said fart on television.
It could be.
Right?
Yes.
Well, probably The Simpsons, honestly.
Yeah. Simpsons did it. No.
Simpsons did it. Simpsons did
I
it.
wonder when the first time somebody said fart on TV.
I don't. Yeah, I wonder. I wonder. Now it's just like
Now I feel like we need to scratch our
Yeah,
chins
send
and
us
go
an
to like
email
a
if you know.
Staff at nerdoverload.com.
Yeah, I don't want to look it up.
Find out.
Yeah, you do the research.
Yeah, you do this part.
The power is yours.
I can't wait for that show. They're still working on that.
Captain Planet?
Captain Planet, a live action Captain Planet for Netflix.
We're the Planeteers.
You can be one too.
'Cause saving our planet is the thing to do. Looting and polluting is not the way. Here's what Captain Planet has to say.
And then PSA.
The power is yours. I didn't even like that show when I was a kid, and I know the whole. Like,
I had the toys.
I did not like it, but I didn't love it either. It
Sure,
was, I
it's a
just
little
watched it
cheap,
when it was
but
on.
yeah.
But I still remember all the words to the theme song.
It's very catchy. Captain Planet, he's a hero. Gonna take pollution down to zero. All right. Yeah, feeling it.
Thanks,
All right.
Ted Turner.
Thanks, Ted Turner.
You know, it's not going to hold a candle to the Don Cheadle college humor Captain Planet.
Everybody's trees. Did you know that was Tom Cruise who did the voice of Captain Planet for the first handful of episodes?
Really?
What?
Yeah, they had a lot of celebrity voices in those first episodes.
Because it was like almost charity.
Meg Ryan was the scientist with the eye.
Oh, what's her
Dr.
name?
Blight.
Yeah, Dr. Blight.
Um,
Who was also on that OKKO episode.
Oh,
She
right.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Captain Planet episode. Man, those crossovers in the end of that show was so good.
Yeah. I love that whole show so much.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so good.
Mhm.
And the ending was. Oh.
They really did something special with that whole
They
series.
did, yeah.
It really is
It
so
was-
good.
Yeah, like a love letter to other
Just
cartoons in general.
general.
Almost like
Even though,
Yellowstone.
even though
A
it
little
kind,
bit as well.
even though it kind of looked like the Chalk Zone, like visually.
Yeah, a little bit, I guess. Let's see. We have time for maybe one or two quick ones.
Good. That's all we got.
Yeah. Let's see. Voltron movie.
I mean, they've been talking about it forever.
Yeah.
It's happening.
I guess. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe they're waiting to see how well
There was some names attached to it though.
Henry Cavill,
And who he was going to play.
the King of Altaria.
There you go.
So he's playing the king
Mhm.
that sends out Voltron to fight enemies in space.
Cool. You know what? He would only take that role because it's such a kind of a small part for Henry Cavill. He must absolutely love Voltron. We know that the guy's a huge
He's
dorcas.
probably producing the
He's
movie.
probably also
Yeah, he probably is.
Yeah.
He probably is.
Between that and the Warhammer.
Oh my
television series
God.
that he used to do. Yeah.
I'm glad he's not one of the Voltrons because they're kids.
They're supposed to be kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, in the DreamWorks one, they're aged up a little bit.
a little
little
they're
bit.
still like
They're
young adults.
Late 20, early 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
And M'Baku from
Wakanda.
from the Black Panther movies. The new king of Wakanda.
By the way,
whatever it is,
yes.
that short from Avengers Doomsday.
Yes.
He is going to be the villain. Zekrom, I think his name was.
What's his name? Sterling.
Sterling. Yeah.
I always want to say Sterling Archer because
do you want space battles? Because this is how you get
This
space
is how you get
battles.
Space battles.
space lions or tigers.
They're
Lions. They're lions.
Yep, 5 mini lion robots form one giant lion robot.
Voltron.
Voltron.
The Voltron with the cars was really
I
dumb. though.
have the lions.
And I'll form the head. That's the summoning of the sword.
Remember that terrible Adult Swim show that was like a Voltron Power Rangers kind of
Oh
parody?
yeah, Ultra Force Go or something
It was
like that.
like stop motion.
Mm-hmm. It
Oh,
wasn't-
like they were kind of making fun of Thunderbirds?
Yeah.
It wasn't especially good.
But I was just mad because one of the characters looked exactly like me.
Okay, it's not M'Baku. I was wrong.
Oh.
Oh.
It's not. It is Sterling K. Brown, who was in. He was in Njobu. I think he was one of T'Challa's friends or something. He's not the one on the. He's not the.
I think he was the one with the Rhino clan that was married to the head of the Warrior Women, who became a bad
No,
guy.
that was the Get Out guy.
Was that the Get Out guy?
That was the Get Out guy. What else has this guy been in? He's the voice of Angstrom Levy in Invincible.
They released a trailer for the new season of Invincible too.
Yes.
I still need to finish the last one. I'm pretty far into it.
Oh man, there's some good stuff in there.
It's a good show.
He
It's
was
also an incredibly violent show.
He was in Solar Opposites. That show.
Who was he in Solar Opposites?
Hulk, Halk. He might have been just a one-time thing.
Yeah, because there are a lot of like kind of one-off characters. Because Solar Opposites is very much like in the same vein of its sister show, Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of just one-off characters that just kind of pop in and out.
I've kind of wanted to watch it again now that Roiland is out and Mike McMahon is more in charge. Because he's also the guy that did Lower Decks, which is one of my favorite shows of all time.
There's actually a handful of like cartoons like that I want to finish because I never finished not Inner Space.
I know.
You know the one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
It used to be on
Did you ever watch
TNT or TBS?
Yeah. Did you ever watch Common Side Effects?
No, that's the one where the guys eat mushrooms, right?
Yeah, it's the guy that finds a mushroom that can cure anything. And like the government's after him about it, and there's a whole big conspiracy, and it's really, really good. It's like one of those adult animated shows that feels like it's actually made for adults to enjoy.
Nice.
You mean kind of like Inside Job?
Inside.
The Netflix one.
It's a little more drama. I mean, it still has jokes and stuff, but it's a little more dramatic than.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool.
And it's got the same lady from that show about the world's ending.
Carol at the End of the World.
Carol at the End, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I loved Carol at the End of the World.
That was a good show.
Yeah.
I liked that a lot.
All right, well, I hate to stop the conversation, but I think we've hit time, so we should probably wrap up the show. You've been listening to Nerd Overload. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can catch us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com.
You can also email us any questions, concerns, topics. Do your homework. Find out who was the first person to say fart on TV. And that is at staff@nerdoverload.com.
You can give us a call at 412-345-1413. Leave us a voicemail and we'll play it on the show.
Give us your best fart noise.
Yeah, we'll just do an entire hour of fart noises.
Voicemail, why not?
Might as well. Hey, might as well, right? You can find all of our back episodes on various podcast apps, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where this video that we're doing currently will be up, as well as other videos that we do.
It's like when we ate hot chips.
Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember hot chips?
Or when I play Mario 64.
And then when I have time to put it on there. And finally, I'd like to thank Parker for helping us find news for the show, and David Pencil for our intro and outro. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
As long as we're not buried in 14 feet of snow.
Yeah, as long as we're not neck deep in snow.
Yep.
I think this might be the episode where we said fart more than any other one.
I think so. All right, so we're in the post show here. I believe Jordan actually solved our riddle already for where the fart was the first time. Blazing Saddles.
Oh, yeah.
Although I think I don't think they say fart in that. I think that's just the longest scene of uninterrupted farts.
Yeah.
And I think that's what that was. So going back up through a little bit here.
Yeah, let's go through the chat.
Let's go through a little more of this here. The old guy's answer to 6-7 is 25 or 6-4. Thank you, Chicago. That's from Retired Bread Man.
I don't understand that reference.
25 or 64? That is a... Oh, what band is that? It's a song. It's a Chicago song. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's a Chicago song. What's wrong with me? Let's see. We have Salute Your Shorts, what Larry had said when we were talking about the live-action Nick shows.
Mm-hmm.
Julia Stiles was in an episode of Ghost Rider. You remember Ghost Rider?
Yeah, I used to watch that a lot. It was on PBS.
It was.
In between watching that and episodes of Wishbone.
Yeah,
Wishbone. What's the story, Wishbone?
I was a big Wishbone fan.
I wasn't. I guess I didn't watch a whole lot of PBS after a certain point because I don't really have the affinity, or not. Yeah, I don't really have the affinity for Wishbone that a lot of folks our age have.
Wishbone. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Oh, well, that's.
I wanted to be on that show
same,
bad.
Same here.
What? Okay.
They should do it now, but it's just GeoGuessr.
Yeah.
So okay. Favorite child game show from when we were kids that you wanted to be on?
Double Dare. And easy.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
I also wanted to be on Legends of the Hidden Temple, but I also really wanted to be on Guts. But I was never. I can't say I was never that athletic, but I was never like that athletic.
You weren't a sports boy.
Double Dare.
I was on a soccer team, and I did karate.
Actually, I did karate too.
Playing soccer is actually how I broke my hip.
Oh, didn't know you broke your hip.
Yeah, that's why I walk with a slight limp.
You should look up the Guts theme song because
Guts!
I was going through looking for game show theme songs because I was messing with that game show concept that I'm playing with.
Mm-hmm.
The Guts one has more words than I realized.
They don't just say guts.
No, there's a big rap at the beginning.
Oh, nice. It's the 90s. Of course there was.
Of course there was a big rap. Yeah. Let me. Let's see if we can.
I mean, if Pokemon can have a rap, so could a teen sports show on Nickelodeon. Do you remember Wild and Crazy Rock? Do you remember Wild and Crazy Kids?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember Wild and Crazy Kids.
Was that a game show, or was it just kind of just a thing?
It was just kind of.
Because kids messing around, wasn't it?
Kids, they were playing games, but I don't know if it was if you would consider it a game show.
And then there was one that was like a game show. I remember them riding a little roller coaster into a giant cream pie.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, that was What Would You Do?
Yes.
Yeah.
With Mark Summers.
Yeah.
They filmed it on the Universal Studios lot.
Yep. Oh, what was the one where it was like the bunch of Nickelodeon teen celebrities?
Figure It Out.
Figure It Out.
Yeah, where the contestant had a secret
With Summer Sanders.
and they all had to figure it out. And when they didn't figure it out, they got slimed.
They got slimed.
I remember one was a kid with the world's longest rat tail. And that resonated with me because I had a rat tail.
Because you had the second longest rat tail.
I doubt I had the second longest, but I did have one because I wasn't allowed to have a mohawk.
Hey, it's not a rat tail.
And I didn't want a mullet.
It's a Padawan braid.
Except it was on the back of my head and not the side.
Fair. I remember that show. Summer Sanders, the former Olympic swimmer, host of that show.
I didn't know she was an Olympic swimmer.
That was her claim to fame prior to.
What was that show where they were they played arcade games and then
Nick Arcade.
Nick Arcade.
Was that Nick Arcade?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a good one. That was fine.
I mean, that was more aligned to my interests.
The McElroys did a whole episode of their live stream show that was basically Nick Arcade.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
Did they do the bit at the end where there's a platformer where you're inside like a virtual zone?
Excellent.
They did it all in OBS, where they're moving it around.
Oh, that's really cool.
It was
That's
pretty
really
good.
cool. All right, I found the Nickelodeon Guts main theme. Why does it say clean after it?
I don't.
Is there a
The
song?
audio.
It's probably the audio. Yeah, it's
Okay.
probably not chunked up. Oh God, I already remember this. Oh my God, this is so 90s.
This song is going great with Angela Lansbury, Cypher Zone.
This is the same one that I heard.
This is the 92 main theme.
This is the one I remember. Too bad it doesn't have the video with it.
Yeah.
Why am I hearing W? A double.
Maybe it's gonna do the rap now.
Oh, okay. I was going to try to find the
Yeah, the one I heard was just went straight into the rap.
Okay, this one's 23 seconds long, so.
Yeah, that's what I remember right there. I wanted to climb that crag so bad.
I don't know, the one I heard was on the Internet Archive.
Okay, let me see if I can do rap. We'll do that. The Nickelodeon Guts
Maybe
rap.
that was it. Maybe it was the commercial.
I think, other than the crag, I think my favorite event was the one
I think this is it.
where they ride like little trikes or whatever around the track, crashing through obstacles. Yeah, there it is, right
You know, I would want to be on Legends of the Hidden Temple more if there wasn't that water part at the beginning.
Yeah. Oh,
That always looked really
there. Or the one
hard.
where you slide across the road?
There was all kinds of different
Oh,
ways
they
they
were
made
all
you go
ways,
across the
yeah.
water.
Ah, that rap was so bad. It reminds me of the Men on a Mission rap from WWE. Have you
Oh,
ever heard
yeah.
that? You know what? I'm gonna play it anyways.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
why not?
Have it.
This theme is it's bad. You know what? This is bad enough. I think I'm going to try to put it on the screen. Give me a sec. Let's see here. I need display capture on.
Why does Angela Lansbury look like she's in the classic Doctor Who TARDIS control room?
She would have been a good doctor.
That is the Cyber Zone, you guys.
Angela Lansbury as the doctor would have
That would've
been
been
so
great.
good.
The Mo section of the rap.
WWF Men on a Mission sounds like a charity.
It kind of
rap.
does.
It
doesn't
does.
A
Yeah.
wrestling charity. Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but there's a section in one of them that he's just rapping about Mo. It's like, his name is Mo. Everybody knows his name is Mo. Oh, this, I just... Here's the thing, Oscar was... Oh, let me turn our mics down. Oscar was never a wrestler. He was brought in just for his
He's the hype man.
excellent rapping, raps and rhymes.
He's the hype man. He's like Paul Bearer.
Woo! Actually, Percy Pringle was a wrestler at some point.
Oh, was he?
Before he, yeah,
He also invented the baked, not fried potatoes.
he did. The potato-like crisps.
Yeah, the potato crisp.
Yes. No, seriously, and he had bright red hair. He was a ginger.
Huh.
He had red hair, and they made him dye it black and grow out that stupid
The
mustache.
original Ginger Avenger.
Oh, watch out for my Undertaker!
Sound like High Five Ghost from regular show.
Because that's what they're doing is Paul Bearer.
I don't know, Muscle Man.
Oh man.
I hate they're coming to Fortnite. But I
Yeah.
also love they're coming to Fortnite.
Wait, Mordecai and Rigby?
Yeah, Mordecai. Yeah, Mordecai's gonna have a skin. I think Rigby's gonna be a sidekick. It's Mordecai, Rigby, and Skips.
Nice.
Nice.
So I wish we could get Benson.
Yeah.
Or Pops.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be able to see past Pops' giant head.
Yeah.
He would. Yeah,
Maybe he's the glider.
Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say, yeah, we can't have Pops as a player because it's headshot a palooza
Yeah.
with Pops.
And then Benson would be hard to headshot because his head's transparent.
It's transparent. Yeah.
I kind of want the Kizuna Eye skin that Fortnite has.
Oh, that's the VTuber, right?
Yes, the first
The first one,
VTuber,
yes.
other than Carl from Aqua Teen.
Oh man.
Which I'm surprised they got. If they were gonna get a VTuber, they would get like one that only old heads know. You know?
Yeah.
like
yeah.
you wouldn't get like an Iron Mouse.
Listen, 2 years ago they would have gotten Gura.
Yeah, if Gura was still
Gura.
around.
Yeah. How is she doing on her new persona and what?
Good.
Yeah.
It's basically the same
The same
content.
thing, yeah.
She just
But-
looks different.
Yeah, she's just a different kind of fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She should have went with an angler or an angler
An
fish.
angler.
An angler. Yeah, there we go. Or blobfish. Not saying, But blobfish are kind of fun.
Yeah, but also they don't look like that when they're in the water.
No, it's because the compression
yeah
explodes them on the way
and makes
up.
them look weird.
Yeah. Listen, we are 7 minutes away from hitting an hour and a half, so let's vamp for 7 minutes and then wrap this up because
did we ever run an ad?
Hungry. Oh, you know what? We never did.
No, we probably did.
Hey, let's run an ad.
No, they're manual now. I have not. Do I have the button to run an ad?
You have to add it as a desktop extension, but I can show you. I can send the info over for you on that. So we're on. This is the YouTube only section of the show because we're on ad break, getting those sweet 2 cents.
Or some kind of smelly bead thing for laundry.
Oh, fun!
hey,
those things are great.
Every time we Prime sub, it gives us like $2.
It does.
Really?
And I can cash out once we hit 50.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just re-upped mine just today when we started.
I should look into mine as well. You know, I think I re-upped mine a couple weeks ago. But, so what do we want to say to only the YouTube fans?
Every time somebody does that, Jeff Bezos has to give us $2.50.
You could pry these $2 out of my cold dead hands.
Jeffrey Bezos.
Literal dragon man. But not for the cool reasons.
No.
For the hoarding reasons.
The hoarding reasons, yeah. So what are you guys getting for dinner tonight?
I don't know. I need to pick up Brandy, and we're going to the store and picking up emergency supplies.
That's a good
food.
idea.
We did that yesterday.
That's a good idea.
I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, I had a frozen pizza for dinner.
Nice. I think we're gonna get a Donato's.
And some off-brand Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Ooh. Hey, I tried the Flamin' Hot mac and cheese Cheetos from the microwavable kind for Hungry Boys. It's not good. It's pretty rotten. It's pretty bad.
Oh man, speaking of pretty rotten, pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's like this new monster flavor, and Brandy bought one to try it out.
Mm-hmm.
I took a sip of it, and I was like, no, never again. Never, ever.
What is it like?
It was called strawberry...
Dog spit.
Might as well.
Yeah, might as well.
Strawberry dog urine.
Dog's energy drink.
And if you're watching the stream live, we just came back from break. You have no idea what that was in reference
I was
to.
saying strawberry dog urine?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. You're just going to have to figure that one out, guys.
You like strawberry? We'll try rawberry.
I'm surprised that's not what Monster called it.
Oh, yeah.
Rawberry.
Yeah, rawberry.
No, I feel like that would have been like a C4 thing.
A Bang energy.
Oh, that one.
It feels like there used to be like 100 flavors of that, and now there's like 5.
Yeah.
Well, they probably realized a lot of them weren't selling.
Yeah.
Keep hitting my damn mic arm.
Well, stop doing that. Why don't you?
Oh,
You know what, now that
why
we have
don't
a
you
better-
know?
You know, now that we have a better desk, I can actually put them on the other side.
Hey.
There. Cody, yours is going to stay in the same spot.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you
because-
slub.
Slub?
Slug. Slug and
Scrub?
scrub.
Yeah. I hit you with a non-Euclidean slur.
Portmanteau.
Slurms McKenzie.
Whammy wham wham mazel.
I love that episode of Futurama.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
I could get through if I didn't have these arms. Fry's crippling slurm addiction.
I'm so tired. It takes those glasses and they're like bloodshot eyes.
They're more than bloodshot. They're just done.
They're pretty much gone, yeah.
Doesn't it seem like Fry has gotten dumber in the newer episodes? Like
I haven't watched
extra
any of the
dumb?
new episodes. I haven't watched since they came back.
It
Yeah.
just seems like Fry has been turned into
Regressing.
a one-note like dumb guy.
The Flanderization of their show.
He's Flanderized down to like, well, he's
the stupid one.
He's a stupid human guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always kind of been a stupid.
Well, but he had like multiple. He had depth.
Yeah.
He did, especially like near the end when they did the whole thing with like the time jumping and the whatnot. And
Yeah.
he technically became two people.
I guess not a lot of episodes have been about Fry though either.
Mhm.
So
He did do the nasty and the pasty.
I'm my own grandpa. God, meet the stupids.
Yep. Oh God. Oh, that movie was rotten.
Right?
Yeah. Although the kids' books were okay. They were kids' books first.
I
Oh
never.
yeah, I remember because I had read the books before the movie had come out.
Yeah.
Those weren't Ron Dolls, were they?
No.
No.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
no.
Okay.
Were they Lewis Sacker? Everybody look at
I'm
their
gonna
phones.
beat you. I'm gonna beat you.
We're racing. We're racing to find out who made Meet the Stupids.
They would never make a children's book called The Stupids now.
No, they wouldn't. I don't think it was Lewis Sacker now I'm thinking about it. Because I know he did Sideways Stories from Wayside School, which I absolutely loved. There was like just a slight tinge of horror in with those comedy
Harry
books.
Allard and James Marshall.
Oh. Okay. Well, good on them.
Yeah. 1974.
Really?
Yeah, looks about right.
They were in the 70s? They wrote it in the 70s?
The Stupid series of books ranked number 62 on the American Library Association's list of 100 most frequently challenged books of the entire 2000s decade.
Really?
Oh, there's 4 books. There's The Stupids Step Out, The Stupids Have a Ball, The Stupids Die.
Oh my god! Did not read that one.
And The Stupids Take Off.
I think the one I read growing up was The Stupids Take Off.
John Landis directed that movie?
Oh, wow.
I wonder how many people died.
I was just gonna say, you know, that's almost the worst movie he's ever done.
Okay, so Brandy sent me some pictures.
Okay,
She dug out the Atari out of
Nice.
a box,
nice.
and we have the Star Wars Return of the Jedi Death Star Battle
Ooh. Yeah.
from 1983.
Yeah, the
stuff.
one with the Hoth battle where it looks like a bird fighting a camel.
Yep.
And then the 1983 Atari XE video game cartridge of Mario Bros.
Oh, neat.
Wow. Nice. Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool.
She does have cool artifacts.
Hey, guess what, guys? We made it to an hour and a half.
Let's go!
Let's go eat. Are we? Is it thumbs up? Is it pointing? What are we doing?
2026 is thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Here we go. See you next week.
I feel like Vault Boy.